actually think perjury is a very serious crime. And
it takes 9 armed guys.
They were taking her shopping at Crate and Barrel. Most felons caught dead to rights, not only having already committed 7 felonies, but in the process of committing yet another felony on tape right there. Don't go shopping at Crate and Barrel while waiting for their mothers to get there from New York.
I think she was actually heroic the night that Star's guys had her in the hotel in standing up to them. And I think that she comes out of this looking better than almost anybody else in the thing.
I wish I had a makeup person every time I cried. Okay. And there's some, is there a sound? I know, Linda? No. Just thought you guys should all know that. Really. Are we all, is it all good, Jerry? Okay, I'm sorry.
We thought that this would be a day when the only big story would be the arrival of Pope John Paul in Havana late this afternoon, and then the unexpected. We will have more on the Pope's arrival a little later, but now it's on to the president, the intern, the accusations, and the denials.
Explosive new allegations.
Explosive accusations are flying around.
It appears the crisis surrounding President Clinton is growing worse.
5 seconds, we'll get a picture and then leave you alone.
The first person to publicly name Monica Lewinsky in the sex scandal swirling around the president was an internet gossip columnist named Matt Drudge.
For people who don't know about your report on the internet, is it an unbiased report or is it partisan politics?
It's a man partisan for news.
All right, but you admit, a conservative, and you have increasingly targeted the Clinton White House.
Well, I go where the stink is.
The facts will show that time after time, I urged her to tell the truth right up until the end. I understand that there's been a great deal of speculation about just who I am and how I got here. Well, the answer is simple. I'm you. I'm an average American who found herself in a situation not of her own making.
And there's more. Tripp has given 2 of the Lewinsky tapes to Lucy Ann Goldberg, a conservative book agent, also known for performing dirty tricks during the Nixon White House.
Have you ever heard anything as wild as this? Have you ever? I wouldn't have believed it. Linda's life is going to be changed. Mine's going to be changed. And God help this poor little Monica.
What I have said all along is our process is independent. We have been given a task by the Attorney General of the United States because she came to a legal judgment that there should be an investigation of whether Monica Lewinsky and others engaged in certain criminal activity in connection with a civil case.
Everybody get a picture.
It's so foreign to have photographers and cameramen outside wherever you were. We had media all outside the Watergate, and I couldn't go anywhere. I mean, I remember back when I went out to visit my dad out in California 2 weeks into this.
Monica, we got Monica over here.
And there were sheets and towels over every single window because they were worried about the long-range lenses and having to shred their trash because they didn't want the press to go through it.
Come on!
It also started to affect my attorney's legal strategy.
Get back, all of you, away from the car. And I mean it. Stop it.
I had to have meetings with my attorneys pacing the halls at the Watergate because I was afraid my apartment was bugged.
Watch yourself!
Or maybe your attorney telling you just have the same smile on your face whenever you go out so that the independent counsel's office doesn't think they're breaking you down.
Do you think there's any part of her, Dr. Lewinsky, that's enjoying the attention?
No, I think that's a total exaggeration.
It didn't matter if you were dying inside. You just went out there and you had the smile on your face.
The smile. It reminds me of, you know, when you look at the orthodontist wall and there's always a picture of a kid going, "Thanks for straightening me out."
Get out of the way, Brad! Brad!
But I want to say one thing to the American people. I want you to listen to me. I'm going to say this again. I did not have sexual relations with that woman, Miss Lewinsky. I never told anybody to lie, not a single time, never. These allegations are false, and I need to go back to work for the American people. Thank you.
When President Clinton denied having sexual relations with you, did you feel abandoned at all?
Yes, I'm sure there must have been a part of me that felt abandoned. I was pleased there was part of me that was pleased at the time, because I thought, okay, it's important for him to deny this too. I don't know what's happening. I don't want him to lose his job. But once the stalker stories, the bimbo stories, the she's got a few screws loose stories started sprouting out, that was pretty rough.
That was the threat. The president's telling Miss Lewinsky that this is what will happen to you, darling, if you don't stay perjured. We'll morally destroy you.
He knew that most of the things that were said about me and bandied about in the press weren't true. And he not only allowed that to happen, but encouraged that by the story he told Sidney Blumenthal.
What did the president tell you?
He spoke fairly rapidly, as I recall, at that point, and said that she had come on to him and made a demand for sex, that he had rebuffed her, turned her down, and that she threatened him.
That he not only allowed me as a person to be torn apart, personality, credibility, every which way, that he allowed that, I think, really showed me how little he truly cared.
He said that she said to him that she was called the stalker by her peers, and that she hated the term.
Did Mr. Blumenthal tell any other reporters that you know about Monica Lewinsky being a stalker?
Yes, he did. As far as I could see, there was only one reason that that story was in print, and it was because the White House wanted it to be.
What was Monica Lewinsky like?
Insiders described her as starstruck.
A fellow White House intern calls her exceptionally emotional, someone who lived in a fantasy world.
At least 2 White House staffers now claim Lewinsky had a reputation for being unstable.
Another said she was very flirtatious and often boasted that President Clinton had shown a special interest in her.
I think that out of convenience, I was sort of made into the other. I was objectified and dehumanized, really, in a way, so that I could kind of be ping-ponged back and forth.
She lives somewhere in a fantasy world. She's given to exaggeration.
Monica Lewinsky's behavior was unacceptable.
Unlike Linda Tripp, who was kind of accepted by the right, and obviously the left would support the president, there wasn't really a political party that wanted to be affiliated with me.
The great story here is this vast right-wing conspiracy that has been conspiring against my husband since the day he announced for president.
Genuine reputation, that's one of the reasons that I am anxious to say at all times that what we do is examine.
Ladies and gentlemen, the state of our union is strong.
There was another bombshell tonight in connection with the alleged White House scandal. This one involves Monica Lewinsky. Late today, a married man went public and said he had a 5-year affair with her.
32-year-old Andy Blyler has now publicly admitted that from 1992 to 1997, he had an affair with Monica Lewinsky. Blyler painted a wicked picture of Lewinsky.
I just know what I know. I'm not frightened or anything. I just feel that it's... I couldn't in good conscience just sit on this stuff and not tell the authorities what I know.
Within a week, I mean, it was the 27th, it was, 15 minutes before the State of the Union, the President's State of the Union, they have this press conference standing outside their house with their attorney. The result of their press conference were statements that were completely false. I mean, and I think led people to believe that I had gone to the White House with an agenda.
Before Monica ever left for Washington, she apparently made her intentions very clear to Kathy Blyler.
I'm going to the White House to get my presidential knee pads.
And painted me in the light that the White House really wanted. I mean, it was perfect for the White House because I was the homewrecker who came to Washington with the agenda, and let alone that I shouldn't be believed because, I mean, this is crazy. Why would the president want such a piece of trash? I also should be hated because look what I've done to this poor family. And once again, it was another situation where, similarly, I mean, just in a societal way, somehow the man has no responsibility.
The kids in one of my classes actually mailed me a letter today with support. Each one of them signed it. That meant a lot to me.
I also want to say thank you to the people we don't even know who have been calling our house all day.
I was a student at Beverly Hills High School in the theater department.
Yeah, you look younger.
Yeah.
Hi, you were a couple years younger than me, right?
Yeah, my name's Hillary.
Yeah, you knew Andy, right?
I knew Andy.
See? And you probably have some stories to tell, too.
Yeah, I was...
No, I'm kidding. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said that.
I do, actually. I was subjected to his advances, like many girls our age were at that school. And I wanted to know if you thought that was a pattern of behavior. Your relationship with the former president was a pattern of behavior taught to you by our teacher.
Yeah, I think my relationship with, I think having had that relationship, yes, it made me very comfortable with the notion of it was okay to be with a married man. Maybe I wasn't good enough for anything better. And certainly the pattern of, okay, well, this is what married men do. And when married men do this, then they, they go on for a period of time, and then they feel guilty, and they break it off, and then they always come back. So I applied that to the president. And I don't think that, and this is not to put all of the blame on Andy, although...
We can put a lot.
Pardon?
I think we can put a lot.
Yeah, I think they're probably... I have to be careful what I say. I don't want to get sued by him. But I think that if I had not had a previous relationship with a married man, I don't think the notion of having a relationship with the president would have been familiar to me and something I would have been comfortable with. And I think I would have stopped and had a lot more thoughts of, ooh, is this right? I don't know if I should do this, or I could get caught, or ooh, what if, not knowing what could happen, but having had a successful affair for 5 years. I know.
I have to say, I think you were wronged, and I think you were wronged when you were young by this man, and I don't think that you would have been put in the situation that you were in and have to deal with all of this had you not been victimized because you were a teenager. And so at that time, it is a victimization. I don't think you would have been in this situation, and I think you were wronged, and I think you're very strong to be here. I really do.
Why is she a victim?
I didn't say she was a victim.
You said she was
Yeah,
abused.
she is a victim because he's abused his position of power. Power is a huge aphrodisiac, and I think that she has been abused by that and taken advantage of.
Wasn't she the one who said that she was going to go to Washington to get her presidential knee pad?
Yes.
Wasn't her design always to try to go and get inside the White House and perform that act on the president?
Poor Monica, who had an affair with a married man for 5 years. Are you really thinking we're buying Monica as a little victim?
Yeah, I do believe, because she may have taken on a whole lot more than she realized she could handle. She's 23, 24. She's with the most powerful man in the world, and she thinks, surely he's going to take care of me.
Linda, if I ever want to have an affair with a married man again, especially if he's president, please shoot me. I promise you. What did your mom know about the affair? She did know that I had some sort of a relationship with him and that I was crazy about him, and I used to, you know, stay at home and wait for the phone to ring and scream at anybody who called me if it wasn't him, and was very discouraging of it. But there was a notion out there that she hid the blue dress and was complicit in this relationship, which she was not. My mom was subpoenaed and forced to testify before the grand jury, despite the fact that it is a Justice Department guideline that you don't do that. The independent counsel's office felt, in the search of truth, that they should violate this bond. In reality, this country, I mean, there is no privilege that exists between a parent and a child, legally. I mean, the bond, I think, that we have with our parents and that our parents have with us is so sacred. And when you're in legal jeopardy, you rely on that even more.
Several sources close to Lewinsky's mother have now described what they say went on inside. That Lewinsky's mother screamed and had an anxiety attack.
She appeared pale and shaken. A wheelchair was brought into the grand jury room at day's end, but Lewis managed to walk out on her own.
Today, Lewis's lawyer accused prosecutors of trying to drive a wedge between mother and daughter.
In the following days, this Washington prosecutor, Victoria Tensing, was on TV, and she said, well, the talk around Washington is that Monica's mom was faking it.
You think Marcia Lewis is feigning her anguish?
The press around there are laughing. You know that, Geraldo. The people that I talk to, they are not reporting it, but when I talk to them, they said, oh my God, what a dramatic scene. You know, they're laughing at it as if it's made up.
It just put my mom over.
You don't know why the mother's upset. You don't know why she went in there with 10 pounds of makeup one day, or coming out with no makeup on the next day.
I felt really responsible. I was just very scared about what was going to happen, so.
My daughter is a pawn, and Kenneth Starr is trying to use her as a pawn to get the presidency. This is unfair. It is totally un-American.
I'm sure you've been asked in every session, why did you keep the dress? Why didn't you dry clean it? Why didn't you wash it?
Yeah. It's a long story, and I'll tell it. It's fine. First of all, I have a lot of clothes. Second of all, I'm really messy. No, you know, it's hard to tell this story because A, it's so humiliating, and B, it's not something that you would normally talk about. So I'd worn the dress, gotten home, put it away. Next time I went to wear it, I had gained weight and it didn't fit. And that was sort of when I noticed it, and I thought, oh, it's dirty. And it was like, oh God, I wore this the last time I was with him. And it was like, oh my God, no. And it was this, in the same way that people will cherish the sweaty t-shirt from a rock star from a concert. And it was just kind of like, oh, that's so weird, but that's so funny. And it was just kind of, oh, that's weird. But then it was also, oh, and it was like a remembrance of what had happened, and it was a reminder of him. I know it sounds weird, but it's weird because no one talks about it publicly, because you normally don't have to do that. But I guess it's something that happens. And so I had, casually shown it to Linda, like, oh, look, here's this thing. And I was like, oh, I think I'm just going to clean the blue dress and wear that to Thanksgiving. And then Linda went into this whole, oh, you look fat in that dress. Don't wear that dress. Don't wear that dress. And so I didn't.
I want you to think about this and really think about it instead of always just dissing what I say. Okay? I don't always diss what you say. Well, but you're very stubborn. You're very stubborn. The navy blue dress. Now, all I would say to you is, I know how you feel today, and I know why you feel the way you do today. But you have a very long life ahead of you, and I don't know what's going to happen to you. Neither do you. I don't know anything, and you don't know anything. I mean, the future is a blank slate. I don't know what will happen. I would rather you had that in your possession if you need it years from now. That's all I'm going to say.